Justin here with the Atlanta Brick Co. One of, if not the largest, building brick toy stores in the entire world. Basically, we sell new and used Lego sets and minifigures and anything else related to Lego. It's pretty awesome. But Lego ain't just some toy, I reckon. You're absolutely right. Why, just these 6 normal 2x4 bricks can be combined in over 1 million ways.
1 million.
It's true. Here, I'll show you. There's one way. There's another way. Only 999,999 more to go. There's another one. I mean, you get the idea, right? The Lego is art. I am French. Lego is science. That's right. And when you combine art and science together, you get CR-tents. Well, here, let me show you. With just these random parts here, I'm going to build an amazing pirate ship. So, you might want to put a bowl under your chin, because this build is about to melt your face off. Probably not really. Ta-da! Pretty amazing, right? Now, That is an intentional design choice. Now, let's compare it to an actual Lego ship designed by a master builder. Alright, so, mine's kind of lacking. Oh no, I'm gonna need some help. I'll have to use the brick symbol.
We saw the brick symbol.
We came as soon as we could.
Look who it is! It's Mark and Steven Erickson, winners of Lego Masters Season 2, the hit competitive reality TV show on Fox!
Mark and Steven.
We won! There's no other way of saying it! We won!
There you go, guys.
We did it.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, there's people watching. Hi, guys.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to them how Lego can be used as an art form using this.
Wow, so many pretty colors.
I'm glad we got here when we did. Like Justin said, Lego can be used for many things. A toy, a machine, a model,
Or all the above. But for us, we like to use it for an art form.
and one of the ways that we do that is through greebling.
Hold your horses now. Did you just say greebling?
Griebling is the creation of complex details on an otherwise plain surface, using seemingly random pieces to create a machine-like appearance.
Yep, it's basically extra detail.
So Steven, give us some examples of greebling on these cool desert tanks that you brought.
Yeah, so these have a couple examples. A fun way to explore greebling is with like armor and engineering pieces. Like here I've got these side panels which would, kind of break up that smooth wall. You kind of add some detail there. On the front you have little elements like here, these 1x2s that they don't do anything, but they look really cool. You got this staggered slopes on the edge here. On the back you have vents and headlights and taillights. Greebling can really be any sort of detail like that. On the side, I've even got binoculars here stuck on the edges. At the front, you've got other little hinges. Yeah, they don't do anything, but it really brings a creation to life.
Yeah, I noticed that in a lot of greebling you'll see pipes, you'll see bars, you'll see vents, lots of mechanical looking details. It really adds something to a creation, even a small scale one like this.
Now, you don't always have to have greebling. Stuff can be smooth, it can be sleek if you're going for something more futuristic or expensive looking.
Or maybe even like a speedboat or something like aerodynamics.
Something that needs to be smooth. But something that can be rough and tumble like a desert tank, it can have all these cool elements on it to really give it that the feeling of its genre. It's supposed to be a rough and tumble machine.
That's the point of greebling a lot.
Yeah, it can help describe what you're doing.
The only rules to greebling, I think that one is you have to pay attention what colors you're using. So if it's all a bunch of random colors, sometimes it can get kind of lost. But as you can see, Steven has been very careful to use a lot of dark tan and a bit of dark bluish gray so that it has a cohesive color scheme. So just when you're making your greebling at home, try and make sure you're using colors in a very deliberate way.
Yeah. Also, try not to overdo it. I've
Yeah.
seen it a bit overdone, like on walls, like castle walls that are too detailed. Like they almost look fluffy, like like a fuzzy picture. Almost.
And practice makes perfect. So,
Exactly.
the more
Practice.
more greebling you do, the better you do.
One other cool thing about Lego is sculpting, or basically shaping Lego. This is an example of sculpting. This is my seahorse I built a long time ago. Now, what's cool about this guy is that he's covered with all kinds of cool angles, all kinds of cool elements like these rounded elements, these shapes. His face has got a neat teardrop shaped look to it, sort of. On the bottom, you have a nice landscape that's kind of mounded, almost like looks kind of like a cookie, like a chocolate chip cookie down there, with a bunch of coral coming out of it. But yeah, for stuff like this, it has greebling.
Did you just say greebling?
But it's molded in really nicely, if you can see that.
Basically, you're using the slopes to make a distinct shape of a seahorse, right?
Exactly. And what's nice is you've got these stair steps right here. All these little elements, these slopes, these little pieces. It's like pixels on a TV. You want more pixels, so you want more details for something like this. Smoother elements using plates and cheese slopes and quarter tiles.
And stair steps, like you were saying earlier. So.
Like especially on his back, if you can see that. It kind of, you can count the steps all the way up and down, which give it that nice organic shape.
Sculpting can be used for so much more than just a seahorse, though. You can use it in landscapes. You can use it in making a vehicle.
Trees.
Basically, any object that has a distinct shape, you can sculpt out of Lego.
Yeah, like larger characters too. We've got the branches moving. We've got all the different colors in the leaves and his hair leaves. We got the ears that look great. We've got the fireflies. We've got the little frog and the bunnies we threw in there. All kinds of great details.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this small or big. It could be smaller or it could be larger. Just have fun trying to get those different angles. Because Lego is square, but it can be so much more if you just use a few extra pieces in particular ways.
I also want to mention we have some snot elements.
You might think this is gross, but it's not.
Studs not on top, like sideways pieces. If you look at the back of his tail, you've got studs on the side here, facing to my left here. And on the bottom, we have them facing up top. We have brackets and other pieces. If you look at the edge of his tail here, if I can pull it off correctly, there you go. You've got studs on the end with a bracket piece. And this is sideways in order to keep that, that shape. So yeah, that's another fun way to keep the details all going in all kinds of crazy directions is with snot work.
So we've talked about some of the more complex characteristics of sculpting in your seahorse, but what are some ways that somebody who's just starting out could use sculpting in a creation?
I would say landscaping. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. Make hills and valleys and little gullies and ravines. Just basic landscape, just green hills is something really fun to start with.
Yep, or like waterfalls or things like that.
Waterfalls are good, yeah.
I was also thinking of things like buildings and roofs, because if you have all the bricks making a roof shape,
slope,
that's technically sculpting, because it's a shape that you're building out of pieces. So you can use sculpting basically in anything that you're building. Just pay attention to it, and you'll be able to kind of see a difference in your work.
Using too many bricks is a beginner mistake.
Too many bricks?
Yeah. I would say using too many bricks is a mistake because you don't want that zigzaggy edge unless it's very, like, you're trying to make it look zigzaggy, like that stair step. Like, if you look at a hill, it doesn't look like a staircase, It's not really Minecraft, Like, that's Minecraft is cool, but if you want something to look realistic, like in Lego, you want to scale it down. You want to use plates more. You want to use the smaller elements to really get those fine pixel details, So don't use bricks. In my
So you're
opinion.
saying try to avoid the blockiness and try and get a little bit more roundy looking with smaller pieces interspersed between the areas that would otherwise be flat.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Unless you really want it to look blocky for some reason.
Some things look blocky, but some things don't.
Like robots are blocky.
Yeah.
But a hill is not blocky. And one thing to remember is that good sculpting can really be enhanced with NPU.
Hi, Mark and Steven. Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, Terry?
Terry the T-Rex, how you doing?
What's NPU? Sounds like it stinks.
Actually, Terry, NPU doesn't stink at all. It's nice parts usage. And there's actually some great examples of that on Steven's seahorse. Like, here you can see it's actually a dragon wing making his little fin on the back of his back.
Yeah,
there.
classic dragon wing. I've also got clamps on the top here for his horns. I've got one here on the front here. And another cool part, I've got energy crystals from the old Chima line. They're here on the coral. And on the side here, I've actually got minifig legs for the very tip of his tail, that little curl bit on the end.
And nice part usage is basically using a Lego piece in a way that it was never intended to be used, but in a very creative way. Like, so the dragon wing looks very much like a fin, or the crystals look really cool like a part of a coral.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways that you can use a Lego piece for any different thing you can imagine.
Yeah, I would always encourage people to really push themselves to do that. That's considered great Lego building.
When I find a weird piece in the Lego bin, I'm always excited to think of what I could possibly use it for in my creation.
A couple of examples of NPU. We were on Lego Masters, the show, if anybody's watched that.
Mark and Steven.
We had to use a Lego minifig coffee cup, right?
Exactly.
It's a tiny little piece with only 2 or 3 connections on it. And we had to use it. The judges challenged us to use it as creatively and as differently as we possibly could. So we ended up using, let me see if I can remember them all, the fence, the top of the fence. We had the coffee cups on the fence. We had them as giant plant monster teeth because, they're round. They kind of look like, these buck teeth almost.
Yep. We used them as tuners on the guitar.
Yeah, on the guitar tuners.
And sunglasses.
We had them as sunglasses because we had those little things sticking out the side of a round element.
All with one piece that was designed to be used as a coffee cup. So basically any Lego piece has almost infinite possibilities.
Pretty much. I think it's one of the reasons we like Lego so much. You can really challenge yourself. You can learn, and it's like the thrill of discovery, right? You find something you haven't noticed before, you find something brand new, and you can use it that way. That's always a fun challenge to keep going and keep learning. I think that's one of the things that makes Lego so much fun.
That all sounds very cool, magnifique, but how do I start a project? I am French.
Yes, French Justin. When I start a project, I like to draw it out first. Like, say I want to build a castle or a spaceship. I'll first draw it out with just a pencil and paper and figure out what I'm going to be doing. So I know what shape I want to do,
how big it is,
when I want to use sculpting or greebling like we talked about. Just get a general picture from my mind to the piece of paper so that I can then reference that piece of paper and start building it in Lego.
For me, I like to start with a color, actually. Like for here, I just started with orange. And from there, you can make the scenery around it to match. It really narrows down. Because if you have a big bin of Lego, like where do you start? You get overwhelmed. But if you start, I'm going to make a red spaceship. So you grab the red elements you want.
Exactly.
Or I want to make a blue dragon, and you kind of like start with blue. So from that really helps narrow it down. The real thing for me is Lego can be very like overstimulating, overwhelming. Like, oh, where do I start? I got all these parts. So starting with a color really cleans it up for me.
Exactly. And the final build can be more easy to distinguish when you have it's all an orange seahorse. If this was a bunch of different colors, it might be kind of hard to see the detail. But now, because it's has a little bit more attention to what's going on,
it's more focused.
Yeah. Like Justin's ship is actually a little bit too many colors in there. That's why Steven was talking about that in a sarcastic way.
Wow. So many pretty colors. Pretty colors. Pretty colors. If you look at a real ship, you've got white sails, you've got maybe a brown or red or black hull, you've got all these different
Or
elements.
even if he used different layers in different colors, he could have had a little bit more cohesion to his project.
A little more organization. So that actually helps with looking at reference pictures and stuff like that. Like if you want to learn about, build like a castle.
There's a castle.
If you can't go see a castle, you can look up books about it. You can go see a museum, you can go see an aquarium, you can go see a zoo. If you want to build, fish or animals or other fun stuff, it actually helps to go out and look at the real thing. Like when I want to build trees, I actually go on nature hikes. I go around and just look at trees.
There's a tree. Nature is awesome.
And see how they behave with the wind and what the bark looks like. That really helps.
So as an artist, you want to be able to study what you're building so that when you build it, it's much easier. You're not trying to imagine, what does a seahorse look like? It's like, well, if you look at a picture of a seahorse, you can see what it looks like and build it.
You don't want to copy it. You want to interpret it into Lego.
When I am thinking of something I want to build, I often look to what I like, some of my interests, and things that I haven't really done before. Sometimes I like to push myself and it's like, well, I've never built a spaceship like that before, or I've never built a Roman chariot like that before. So you can think of different things that you like and might want to see built in Lego, and then just kind of try to work off things that you can see, you can study, like we were just talking about. So it's like, for me, it stems what I want to see built out of Lego.
Yeah.
But sometimes somebody will ask you to do something like, you could say, like, if you're one of your family members likes seahorses, for example, or likes another ocean creature, you could build it for them as a gift or just to kind of inspire them.
Or sometimes it's a contest.
Yep, sometimes contests are fun.
That can push you into new stuff.
I know that I often have trouble building something, especially if it's kind of boring. Like one time I was paid to build an office building. It's a little boring sometimes.
Office building?
Yeah, so it's like the building was a little dull, and I had trouble building it because it wasn't interesting, and there wasn't too many colors. It was all tan. So making something lively is so much more fun. Something that you like to build is more entertaining than something you might not want to be building.
Yeah.
And some people like office buildings. Don't get me wrong, but
For me, it's the bigger it gets, the harder it gets. I think that's kind of most for everything. But for Lego, it's like
you like to build smaller.
It helps to start small. It helps. I like to stay at something that's compact. Like the larger things. Like on Lego Masters, downright difficult. Man, they're really hard. But it wouldn't have been exciting if it wasn't hard. For me, if it's really big, it gets kind of difficult. You can get a lot of detail, but the scale can be a little bit, daunting.
Sometimes it's definitely better to start small. For sure.
Yeah.
Great greebling gigawatts! But what about adding a little science into your creations?
What about engineering?
That's right. You can have a lot of science and engineering in your Lego creations. Let's show you guys an example here. We're moving the seahorse out of the way. Here's something I whipped up just now. It includes some of the Lego powered up pieces in the back. There's a battery pack and there's a motor here. And when you use these together with a gear and a few lift arms, you can have some motion in your creation.
There now! That's what I'm talking about!
So the spinning gear powers the lift arm, which creates a crankshaft like you would see on a train or in a car.
Yeah.
And then the dolphin goes back and forth.
There you go. It looks like he's jumping in and out of the water. Now you could easily put a scene around this, so it wouldn't be
sculpting.
just with sculpting. You could put like a beach with water. That would really set the scene off. But man, it's crazy what engineering will do.
So the best way to get started with something like this would first of all to have be able to get a Lego motor and powered up system. They come in a couple different sets, and you can even buy them on Lego.com. But then, in order to do this, you just need to be able to know how gears work, how lift arms work. There are books on how to do that, and a lot of these concepts can be applied to Lego. So that's one thing I would definitely look into doing, learning how to use gears.
Yeah. Now, buying sets is honestly, I think that's a pretty good way to learn the basics of Lego. You can learn a lot of cool new stuff.
A lot of different techniques are explained in Lego sets. So if you buy a Lego set or two, you can learn from each one that you get.
Yeah, and if you want to learn engineering stuff, you want to go for Technic sets. That's a really good way to learn about. Some cars will have steering mechanisms. They'll have
even
engines.
A small Technic set will have many different
elements and
of
stuff.
engineering.
And
science.
I would definitely say Technic if this is something that you're really excited about.
Robots! Lots of robots!
So when I think of engineering or Technic or other science-y type things, it would be to create a neat motion piece. Like we used a couple different examples on Lego Masters. Some of the challenges required us to use motion, and stuff like this, just a simple crankshaft could create a really fun motion like this. So this took probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes to build.
It doesn't take a lot to make something really exciting.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be that advanced.
Once you learn a few basic techniques, we're not experts on engineering or Technic by any means, but once you get a few things under your belt, you can really have fun with it and make your creations come to life. No, Wally, this isn't garbage.
Make
Nope.
it up, make up the garbage.
No, this is mine.
Great Scott! I am French. I reckon.
So, as you can see, there's so many different things you can do with Lego, but one thing we would really like to stress is that Lego is really an art form. You can have so much fun creating your own worlds, your own characters, your own creatures, anything your imagination can create. So it's really such a fun concept. And even Lego sets are starting to kind of embrace the idea of Lego being art, and these sets they're normal Lego sets, but they're showing sketches. These are brick sketches. They're pretty cool. They show different Star Wars characters on a flat surface. Doesn't have to be 3D. It could be a piece of art as well.
I think you're right. I think that sets like these prove that Lego isn't just a toy, right? It can really be something that you can strive to create, and something that can be made into something truly beautiful, something you can mount on a wall, or put in a museum.
Exactly.
I think Lego deserves to be recognized as something a lot more than just, just a toy, even though it's fun to play
Oh
with.
yeah, we use it as a toy every day. No, Wally, this isn't garbage.
Make it up, make up the
Fine. Yep. But it can also be used as a cool art form, or an engineering project, or even a little bit of science. So,
Oh yeah, all of the above.
all right.
So Mark, what are your closing thoughts, you think, after all that?
Well, it's just Lego's a really cool thing. It's an art form, and we really appreciate you guys listening to us and having fun with us. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Sorry. I was down there listening to you the whole time.
You were down the whole time?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Your shoelaces are tied together, so be careful when you get up. Thank you so much. Check us out if you want to. Atlanta Brick Co. TV. And let's hear it for the Lego Masters one more time. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
I'm going to get back down here and untie your shoes now.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Just look at me spin. I'm getting dizzy. Please, I want to get off now. Okay, thank you.